Alright, what up, y'all? So I am back at it. It is April 11th, and I am focused right now on finding decks that are fun and interesting. Obviously, they have to be good enough to be able to kind of compete in this metagame. It's a very awkward metagame. I'm not super happy about it, to be perfectly honest. However, it is what it is. So, with that being said, Bubble Paladin is a huge force in the metagame, and I figured you would have to be aggressive, have some reasonable removal, and possibly even have some kind of explosive element to your deck like a combo. So that led me to Dragon Warlock. Still not 100% certain that this is the right combination of cards. I think we need another 1-drop in this. Glacial Shard might be it. Maybe, I was playing, Flame Imp or Fire Imp? Flame Imp, but dealing 3 damage to yourself and then just having it die right away was pretty bad. So I figured Glacial Shard could give us some better value, and it also gives you the ability to like freeze something while setting up some other crazy turns ahead of you. The removal, pretty interesting. Hellfire, which seems kind of counterintuitive if you're playing aggressively, but it does give you the ability to clear the board of smaller minions, as well as just give you some reach when you're getting them closer to dead. And where is it? Royal Librarian, obviously great against Egg, as well as stuff like Nosdormu, or just things that become problematic, and Siphon Soul, just unconditional removal, which also has the benefit of some extra life. And the combo Possessed Animancer into Ultragigasaur. Not sure if that's the right explosive element here, but I think the combination of Shreds of Time minions, which have some good value, this type of combo, decent removal, and some aggressive elements in the Peddlers, the pump effects, the Timehopper, things like this. I think there's something here. There's definitely something worth exploring at the very least. So we're going to see how we can do in a string of games, and let's go from there. Okay, awkward starting hand, so we're definitely getting rid of these two. Do we get rid of this is the question? Glacial Shard is an okay 1-drop just by itself. Obviously freezing their face is nothing crazy, and we are going first, so it's not like they're going to have a minion that we can freeze and get a little bit of tempo value off of. So I'm tempted to throw it back, but I think having a 1-drop is better than not in this deck. Obviously, a 1-drop dragon is ideal, because then that gives you the ability to like curve into Petal Peddler and other things. So I think this is fine. Okay, so Carrier Whelp makes this a little better. Now we can sit on the Glacial Shard for a turn or so. Hopefully we get a Petal Peddler. Time Lord. That's lame. Alright, what are you going to do? Not sure if Time Lord is really worth playing whenever you get him, because it takes so long, and you could be doing things in that time that actually matter. Alright, so this is actually one of the curves I really like. You can go Broodmother into Timehopper, so you get 8 power on turn 3, as well as follow up with a turn 4 Slitherdrake. I like that a lot.
Feed my children.
Yeah, this is part of what made me want to play this deck is Broodmother into this guy. Because that's crazy value on turn 3, and being able to follow up with a 6/8 the next turn is great. And then you also have stuff like this. Obviously, you need to have the Shreds of Time in your deck for this to work, but there's a couple of things that make it happen that I think are just fine. Wow. So we can just answer their Slitherdrake and play our own. It's not ideal because we're losing both our minions, but in any other case, this would be much more difficult to answer. I think for a lot of decks, Slitherdrake is a big pain point. So if we can address a Slitherdrake and have our own, then we're in a pretty good spot here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Interesting. Okay, that's fine by me. Fatebreaker, also really interesting. But I think this guy's fantastic here. So we're going to take 3 damage, go to 19. We can take out both their minions, hit their face for 6. Yeah, kind of hard to argue with this, actually. Yeah, the potential for this deck is obviously there. Like, you can't look at this these types of interactions and go, eh. Like, it's obviously worth considering. But I think the way that I surround the Shreds of Time cards and the Dragon core, the way I surround them with other things like the removal or, you know, in this case, the combo with Possessed Animancer, I think that's what makes the biggest difference here. But I think there's something very reasonable about this deck. So I can cast another Shreds of Time, take myself to 16, but this guy will be a 7/7 with lifesteal, which is extremely relevant. I can also... Ooh, you know what? We're going to do this, actually. So we're going to freeze their face. We're going to freeze this guy. We will get the lifesteal. And believe it or not, I'm going to take out the Petal Peddler. I could put them at 16 here, but because they can't really do anything at all, this means I have 13, I have 17 attack on board. Whew, plus Animancer. This is great. So let's just make sure we've got... yeah, I think we possessed Animancer here. It's kind of hard not to. Yeah. Chill out. Or do we, actually? Because should they do something else here that gets rid of these guys, maybe that's when I drop Possessed Animancer. So let them throw resources at this, then throw something out there that will take additional resources. But, like, what would they reasonably do here?
It is good to think these things through.
They can torch this guy. They gotta throw minions at this. Let's see what we get off of this first.
I pride myself on.
This could give me another Petal Peddler. Nope, of course. Alright, so we'll just throw a bunch of random dudes out there. So this should be difficult to answer in the first place, but then however they play this, Animancer's probably coming in the next turn or two. Sure. Yeah, why am I really concerned here?
I feel their spirit.
Oopsie. Alright, let's see what you got here, buddy. That's pretty crazy, actually. I like this. Nice. Alright, starting off well. 1-0. Okay, Shaman is interesting. This will be a good test to see how reasonable this deck is. Let's see. I mean, it's hard to keep a 5-drop in a deck that wants to be aggressive. I do really like Entropic Continuity. I think there's a big power boost that can come from this card played at the correct time. Problem is, you need to have the right sequence of cards before it. So I'm not always a big fan of keeping it in my opening hand. In this case, so if I keep this and I draw like Carrier Whelp and anything else pretty much, being able to go 1-drop, 2-drop, maybe go on turn 3, 2-drop again, and then continuity is not awful, especially if that 2-drop is... like the 2-mana 4/4 Timehopper. So I'm going to try it here. I don't love it, though. Ooh, okay, now I love it. Now I think we have some serious potential on our hands. Because, ooh, okay, so I was thinking I was going to go turn 1 Timehopper, turn 2 Peddler. But I can go turn 4 Animancer off the coin also. I think turn 1 Timehopper is probably the best possible. Yeah, turn 1 4/4 that's going to get bigger off of Peddler is pretty hard to deal with. Oh, I like this. No 1 or 2 drop for them.
What pretty
I mean, it's most likely this is Herald Shaman, but not doing anything the first 2 turns is pretty rough for them. Okay. Hex is reasonable. Into a Broodmother. Excellent.
Feed my children.
Question is, do we Glacial Shard Continuity? There are 2 Shreds of Time in my deck already. This is going to need 1 of them.
Please allow me to take my time.
I feel like Glacial Shard has so much potential to give me some tempo. So I don't know that I want to just throw it out there. Yeah, we're going to draw a card. Let's get some of this card advantage going. And so far, yeah, only seeing Hex and this Primordial Overseer.
Sands speak, and I listen.
Okay. So it's very likely this is Herald Shaman, but for all we know, there could be some other build floating around that they're playing. So yeah, this is a much better place to Glacial Shard, I think. Yeah, like now we can go Glacial Shard, Timehopper, Continuity?
These things through.
I don't hate that, actually, because we can go like this, like this, and now we are smashing for 8? Do we smash 8 to the face here? I think we do. Like, I could take this guy out and then just smash 2. Like, their turn 5, they could play, what, Muradin. They could play Envoy of the End if they are actually Herald. What would be the worst thing for me to see? I think, yeah, we're going to do this just in case. Yeah, there's so many times where I haven't taken the safe route. Alright, that's annoying, but fair. Only takes out 2 minions. But there's been so many times where I didn't take the safe route, and then they just had the exact thing that, that destroyed me. This guy's amazing.
Petal perfection.
Alright, nothing for you, buddy. Now, if they do have another Lightning Strike, that would be very good for them here. However... Okay, alright, that is pretty good here. However, I can follow up with Animancer, which I think is going to be difficult for them to answer, especially considering I have the Hellfire. So even if they, like, flood the board here, I'm going to have a 14-28 with lifesteal. So I'm really liking the way that this this deck is shaping up. It seems like a lot of the card choices in a Dragon Warlock deck with this combination are reasonable, to say the least. And believe it or not, I really like the singleton Whelp of the Bronze. I think it adds a nice little element to the deck, because you've got Fatebreaker, which has lifesteal, and usually is a 7/7. You've got the singleton Whelp of the Bronze with lifesteal, as well as Siphon Soul, which gains you 3 life and destroys a minion. So,
Feel my wrath.
and that puts lethal on board. Okay, so I was trying to specifically tune this deck to be able to handle aggressive decks like Herald Shaman, Hellfire, as well as just having like more efficient minions in the early game, like Timehopper. Dragon Broodmother, I think, is pretty efficient in that regard as well as being able to hopefully take out things like Bubble Paladin with Siphon Soul, Royal Librarian, and Hellfire. This is actually pretty crazy. Oh my god, bro, we got him. Oh, this is actually really nuts. This is like better than I even anticipated. Like, I knew this matchup was going to be reasonable because of, like, you know, Hellfire is amazing against Herald Shaman, but oh my god. That was just brutal. Alright, so 2-0 after 2 games against 2 very reasonable and relevant decks in the metagame. I'm feeling pretty good. Okay, Demon Hunter. Oh my god, this poor guy. They're giving us somebody at silver. Oh no. Is this silver or is this platinum? I think that's silver. I'm not entirely sure. And what does that say about what Blizzard thinks about me? Because they compile, like, all this data on you and how you do to try and figure out to match you against a reasonable opponent. So is this guy doing really well, or am I doing really bad? One of the two. So, interesting thing here. I can go turn 2 Peddler, turn 3 Broodmother Hero Power, but then I need a dragon for Slitherdrake, so I'm hoping the next 2 turns we draw a dragon. If we don't, this becomes a little awkward. I'm also a little tempted just to hero power on turn 2 so that I can... Oh! Well, yeah, in that case. Let's do this. And then next turn I'll just go Broodmother into Peddler and then follow up with Slitherdrake, which seems pretty reasonable to me. Oh my god, we got another Peddler. Well, I guess we could have Peddlered last turn and... Oh no, we would have drawn Siphon Soul this turn if I didn't hero power last turn, so... Whatever. But this is actually the interaction that I was thinking of as soon as I saw Broodmother. I was like, oh my god, so that means turn 3 you can play a 4/3 and Petal Peddler. That seems awesome. But surprisingly, it's not a super common play. I like it a lot, but I just... Oh, well, that's pretty good for them. They have an infestation or something? Well, okay. Oh my god. This card, also an all-star. So as much as I would like to drop a Slitherdrake, I think it's correct to Barrage here. Yeah, like Barrage and then probably play another Petal Peddler.
It is good to think these things.
Whew, look at that.
What pretty perfection.
Now they pump each other. Big money. Yeah, I think it would have been irresponsible to throw Slitherdrake out there on that turn, because they had 9 attack on board. Oh, wow. Okay, that's pretty relevant right there. Yeah, not ideal to throw this out there while they have 2 3/1s that already got some value, but they can't, like, Infestation and throw a Stinger at this. They can throw a Stinger at my face and throw the 2/1 at it. What else?
They will never catch me.
Oh, they can do that. Okay. Sure. Oh my god, they're going to take 6 to the face for this? I'm actually okay with that. Sure. Draw a dragon. Please draw a dragon. Oh. One of the only times I haven't been too happy to see Royal Librarian. Very interesting. Alright, let's see if we can get something else. Into a Glacial Shard. Sure, why not? Hold your horses with that weapon nonsense, sir. And you could have made a case for holding the Glacial Shard until the following turn so that you could hold off this guy, but I think it's okay. Yeah, with the Broxigar's Last Stand, probably was better to wait a turn. But couldn't have known that. Demon Hunter card advantage is really efficient. I'm a big fan of Demon Hunter right now. I just... it's a little bit tough to justify playing the class. Ooh, yes please.
I feel their spirit.
And because that's going to give us a 14/28 with lifesteal, I'm definitely hero powering. Thank you kindly. And they could Royal Librarian it if they really wanted to, but I'm of the opinion this is very likely just Spell Demon Hunter that doesn't play it. Not sure Eternal Hold is going to do anything.
My blades will sing.
Yeah, that's okay. So we've got Siphon Soul for the Priestess. Probably going to hold the other Siphon Soul for this guy the following turn.
I lust for power.
I should probably hold on to this guy just in case they get something super problematic. And plus, this could be a way to silence this guy if I need to, like, Siphon Soul something else to get it out of the way. So I guess we'll chill. Yeah, it's actually working out very well to play the Animancer combo with the aggressive start. Because if the aggression doesn't work immediately, sometimes you get a little kind of awkward draw, or you can't... you got to trade resources with them in the early turns. So to be able to just be like, oh, okay, I played a 2/2. If you kill it, I get a 14/28. There it is. Okay, so we are now 3-0. That's something. A Death Knight. Okay. But yeah, the only thing that really matters to me now is how does this deck do against Bubble Paladin? That's what this metagame has come down to, and as sad as it is, that is the reality of the situation. In case this is aggro Death Knight, the Unholy Rune version of the deck, then I will be keeping Hellfire. As awkward as it is to keep these 3 cards together, I think that's the right way to go. The Glacial Shard, potentially not as useful, but I don't know. Let's see. Okay, so they are very likely Herald Death Knight. I like this guy a lot. I think this is a reasonable card. I would have loved it a lot more. Imagine if this was like a 1-mana 2/1. Would have been spicy. That would have been amazing. But because it's a 2-mana 3/1, I think it sees a lot less play. Also, being the Frost Rune makes a huge difference. I find that Death Knight Frost Rune cards are extremely undervalued, just because of the way the power level is structured in Death Knight right now. It's unfortunate. And it is a dragon, which is also extremely relevant. So if I play this, they very likely just use this to take it out, which is annoying, but fair, I suppose. Yeah, I think that's the way to go. And next turn, I'm very likely going to go coin Slitherdrake, because a turn 3 6/8 is surprisingly powerful. Who would have thought? Yep, there it is. And that's fine, because that means their board is not advancing, and I'm going to do a extreme advancement of my board. Followed by turn 5 Animancer. Yes, please.
Cooking up something special.
Interesting to say the least. So Hellfire's not bad here. I don't love it, but it does clear out their board. I do have to do this. I mean, to be fair, I could just Hellfire freeze their guy and smack their face, then follow up with Animancer, but this is 9 damage, though. That is... It's not an irrelevant amount of damage.
It is good to think these things through.
Feel my wrath.
Nice to meet you.
I think that's reasonable, especially considering the Animancer.
Death itself draws near. You like to play with fire?
Okay, then. So, yeah, kind of hard not to just Animancer here.
Please allow me to take my time.
Just in case they have Poisonous Breath, I think we got to get rid of the Wild Pyromancer. But I'm a little doubtful they play that. If they do, then so be it. That would be a great way to take care of Ultragigasaur, but we'll cross that bridge if we get there. Another one.
It is good to think these
Feels kind of like a waste of resources to throw this guy away here, but I think it's fine.
Burning within.
Because now we've technically got lethal available next turn. What is that, 17? No, we're a couple off, actually, because this guy will put him to 19 after the attack. But with our Dragon Breath dealing 3 damage, we've got 17 in hand. Okay. It's something, but I don't think it's gonna... Okay, hold up. It's math time here. 10, 11, plus 4 is 15? Yeah, they don't have enough to get rid of this guy. Hellfire here would be hilarious. Okay, or not. We tried.
Pay me.
I feel their spirit.
I think we gotta get rid of this guy, and then we'll Dragon Breath our own guy. I really don't think they play like Poisonous Breath and Wild Pyromancer. I don't think that's a mainstay in these Herald decks, so I'm very doubtful they can take care of this. Sure. Gonna have to do a lot more than that. Okay. Husk is annoying, but it is only 6 because they have 6 corpses. Okay, my max health is... I think they've taken 4, 8... I think my max health is 23 now, something like that. Let's see. Perfect. Actually, just perfect.
Feel my wrath.
How do we want to play this here?
Feed my children.
What pretty petal!
22, not 23. There we go. So they do have more corpses now. However, I am alive, which is obviously important. Doesn't matter how much attack you have on the board if you're dead. But I can't imagine they're going to be able to do much even with Onyxia here. Like, it'll increase their max health, but like, we can take care of pretty much anything that gets in the way. Nope. Nope. And they've already played one Memoriam, so they can only get back Onyxia one more time. Royal Librarian on Onyxia is actually not bad. There are better plays, but let's see here. 28.
Pay me no mind.
So this is 28, 29, 34 I can deal to their face. I can like Royal Librarian that. But then I believe, what do they have? 8, 11, plus 6. They have 17 on the backswing, 18 with this. It's a little close. I don't exactly like leaving it that much open. What did I say? 28, 33, 34. I can make that a little bit bigger with this. So let's just do this then. Let's silence that to make sure. We will do this, and that. Alright, barely missed it, whatever. I think we're in a great position regardless, but yeah, it's tough not to overthink these situations. Because there are quite a few different directions you can go, and like I've been in this situation many times where I focus too much on their minions to be like, okay, let's make sure that I retain control of the board while I just, you know, keep putting a little bit towards their face, and then that ends up backfiring because then it gives them more time to be able to try and find some momentum somewhere. On the inverse of that coin, I've also seen or had this happen in situations where I will just solely focus on their face, and I'm like, you know what, they're not going to be able to find the other 4 or 8 damage or whatever it is, and they do end up finding it. So you can give them the opportunity in multiple directions, but So you gotta be able to figure out which is appropriate for which situation. In this case, I think the silence here was super clutch, because now if they have the Memoriam, they have to attack with their guy to one of my guys.
Let's burn together.
Okay, alright, so it doesn't seem like they have it. So I can beat them here, but then they're going to go back to 14. 5, 8, 9, 10, 15, 18. Cool. That is definitely helpful.
Pay me no mind.
4. That's 5, 8. Okay, so I think we do this. We're gonna do this so that this guy becomes active.
It's not a virtue I pride myself
And then I
on.
think we just Siphon Soul something to make sure that they can't actually get us on the swing back. So problem is, though, that does give them the opportunity. You know what? Yeah, we're gonna do this because Elise could give them extra attack to their guys. So now they have 6, 9, 10 plus 5. Oh, okay. There's one. Alright, so this might be one of those situations where I gave them too much time and didn't focus enough on their face. But I am, in this case, I'm very concerned because of my low max health. I am very concerned about them being able to swing back if I just attack their face. So, might have worked against me here, kind of hard to say. But now they do have the opportunity to take out these minions. Very interesting situation. So yeah, maybe I misplayed this one. Very possible. However, not helpful. Yikes. Alright, I think they just got us here. That sucks. Okay. That's the way it goes.
Feed my children.
Yeah, they got us. That's nuts. Very possible this was just misplay, but yeah, they've got lethal right there on board.
Sail versus Darien Mogre.
Another Death Knight it is. Was really hoping to get some Paladin in here,
Will not falter.
but this is the way it goes. Easy mulligan. Good, okay. I was just thinking, if this is like Grave Strength, Unholy Rune Death Knight, then this is a little bit underpowered compared to what they can do, but the Tachyon Barrage is very helpful. Okay, no 1-drop is a good sign.
Nothing can prevent your end.
Yeah, this card is one of the main cards that made me want to play this deck. Just 2 mana 4/4, insane. And all you're losing is the potential of 6 life later. And there are other cards that this favorably interacts with because you want Shreds of Time in your deck for a couple things. It's very surprising.
Shattered reality.
Yes, please.
The citadel stands strong.
Shattered reality.
Yeah, this is a good draw for me, and seems like a slow one for them. Chillfallen Baron, I'm not sure is the best thing in this. What is happening? Okay, so this isn't full-blown Unholy Rune, which is baffling because Ancient Raptor does not seem to synergize as much with whatever this is. So they can't play Grave Strength, but they're playing Ancient Raptor. And the whole point of playing something like Ancient Raptor is because you're trying to just get as many dudes out there to Grave Strength and Army of the Dead, stuff like that. It's a very interesting situation. Let's do this first. Get some info.
Feed my children.
And do that, yeah. Take 6. Feeling pretty good holding Hellfire also, because I'm trying to think. Last Stand, I don't think that's a triple Unholy card. I think that's double Unholy. So they could still be playing that. Shadows of Yesterday, I want to say is double Unholy, so they could be playing that as well. Playing Hideous Husk. Okay, that makes me think they're probably playing... This is like a Herald's deck with just a... where they're trying to be aggressive in the early turns or something? This doesn't make much sense to me at all. I mean, to be fair, some of the best decks are where you take multiple components of different decks, like take the core of Aggro Death Knight and the core of Herald Death Knight and kind of jam them together. So I can go a couple different ways here. I think Hellfire is reasonable.
It's good to think these things through.
Only problem with Hellfire is I'm losing my guy because I'd probably want to attack this also. I could Velocidrake. That would give me 2 5/5s. I can go smack here, smack something else, hit him in the face for 5. I think the risk of Last Stand is great enough that Hellfire is probably the right call, though.
Feel my wrath.
It's not a virtue I pride myself on.
It is possible they play more leeches, but do I want to risk that possibility is the question here. Oh, we have another Hellfire. Alright, we're definitely attacking face then. I was hoping for a 2-mana dragon off of Carrier Whelp. Really don't like Time Lord. I think Time Lord is a pretty kind of lame card. But it's the way it goes. They do have another Husk off of the Hematurge. Okay.
Feel my wrath. I lust for power.
I'm sorry, what? Okay, so they're straight up just Blood Death Knight. That's baffling.
No fate.
Alright, yeah, I guess they're just Blood Death Knight with some interesting cards. I'm very surprised by this, because I always expect Blood Death Knight to be a little bit more control-oriented, I guess. Maybe I'm tripping, I don't know. Sure. Okay, we're just dead. 3 damage at the end of the turn. Yeah. Fair enough. Okay, so Blood Death Knight is better than expected. What are you going to do? But 3-2 with Dragon Warlock. I think this deck definitely deserves further testing. I think there's a lot of different versions of this deck that you can play that probably have some serious power. Off the top of my head, as far as like changes and things go, so number one is I don't think that the 3-mana 5/5 is worth playing. Eternity something or other. That guy, very not good. Acolyte of Infinity, not Eternity. So I tried that guy a little bit, and that's where I ended up at Whelp with a bronze instead of him. The Royal Librarian I think is great. If I were to change anything, I'm thinking Glacial Shard is a possible change. I do really like the Entropic Continuity, but maybe that's a one-of. I'm still trying to figure out exactly how many of the Shreds of Time cards are warranted based on the deck. And yeah, for all I know, like Velocidrake is very good, but maybe going to like one-of on something like that, it's just, you know, really depends on what stage of the game are we focusing on. So I could go heavier on the 1 and 2 drops, try to make this much more aggressive in the early turns, so that when I go like Broodmother turn 3, I can drop more stuff and then just continue the aggression into something like a Slitherdrake or a Fatebreaker. So yeah, really a couple different directions you can go here, but I think the first one is probably experimenting with a much more front-end aggressive build, and then experimenting with maybe something a little bit more mid-rangey. But Warlock doesn't have a ton of tools to really feel like a good mid-range, and I feel like the more mid-range you go, the more you have to have cards that are as powerful as like Nosdormu Bronze Aspect in Paladin, or Torith, or, you know, what else is in the best decks right now? Like in Herald Shaman, you have Muradin and the Hammer, and you know, there's these cards when you start playing mid range that are just much more powerful than what you can do in Warlock right now. So I feel like the best bet is to try and go more early game aggression and see if we can really push that. Because that seems to be what the format is right now. It's like if you're not playing the format, or if you're not playing the classes that have the most powerful cards, very obviously, then you're going to be playing the most aggressive decks. So we're kind of in more of that aggressive category. Obviously, Animancer into Ultragigasaur is getting into some of the more powerful stuff, but it does have its kind of holes that people can squeeze through and then find a way to victory, as you saw with like Herald Death Knight and Blood Death Knight. So yeah, but that's essentially it. This is Dragon Warlock. Highly recommend the deck. Really like it a lot. Also not super expensive. Like there's not a ton of really crazy cards in this. Like, does it even play any epics? There's quite literally no epics in this deck. It's just commons and rares. So yeah, it's a decent budget deck, and I think it's got some pretty decent power level. So yeah, not really anything bad I can say about it right now. So thanks for watching, guys. Definitely check out the other videos on the channel. I'm recording this on April 11th, so this is I've already done my Legend run, and now I'm really trying to figure out, like, okay, what decks are in the format that either haven't been explored, that possibly have better matchups against Bubble Paladin, or that will just be really fun and interesting. You know, like, I want to see what else this metagame has to offer, because I think over the last couple of weeks we've been so focused on like what's the best deck, and just really hammering that out. And now that we've figured out what like some of the best decks are, now we can start to either metagame against them or figure out what all the fringe, cool, interesting decks are, now that we have all this extra focus that we don't have to apply to what is the best deck. So that's kind of my thoughts on the metagame in a nutshell right now, but I'm sure as time progresses, things are going to change. So peace and love, guys. Big thank you if you're already following. I appreciate that. Definitely feel free to comment and let me know what you think about Dragon Warlock, or more importantly, what you think about this metagame as a whole, because I'm always fascinated by people's thoughts about a metagame, because it does seem like perspective of a metagame is, you know, perspective is very personal, obviously, but someone's perspective of a metagame is almost more important to me than what the actual metagame is, because anybody can look at this data and really see what exactly the metagame says by the data, but the data is yesterday. So sometimes people will have a perspective on the metagame that will actually change it, because it provides context for future builds of other decks, or, you know, other archetypes and things. So I always find that so fascinating. Metagames as a concept are just one of the most interesting things to me. So peace and love, guys. I'll catch you on the next one.